Well, hello there everyone. So today we're going to talk about masking in Affinity Designer. Let's begin. Let's create a new project. I'm going to go to File, go to New, and I'll just set it on print. So I'll just set it on A4 and just hit Create. You can use any paper size you want. There's no problem. Next, I'll switch over to the pixel persona by clicking on this colored icon here. And we're on the pixel persona. It simply means we are using the regular pixel drawing tools like Photoshop, Krita, GIMP. This is the default settings for it. It's different from the designer persona, which is the vector persona. You can switch between both at any time and combine both techniques, which is one great thing about Affinity Designer. Disclaimer, I don't work for Affinity Designer, so this is just bonus PR. Now, let's see how we can create a mask. What is a mask? A mask is simply a selection. That is what a mask is. It's a selection, a specialized selection that has significance. It's given some memory space, and you can use it to protect your drawing, to restrict drawing from spilling out over several regions. That's what a mask does. Let's create a nice little shape. So I'll create this rectangular shape. All I did was click on the rectangular marquee tool, have a little shape. I'll go to the fill tool, but before I do that, I need to have a pixel layer created. So I'll create 1 and 2. In fact, I'll hit escape to deselect. I'll go to the first one I created, which is at the bottom, and I'll call that 0. And the next one, I'm going to call that 1. So in our 0, which is our first one, our base, which is sitting at the bottom, let's use the fill tool and select a nice little warm tone to help our eyes, and this is going to be our canvas color. So let's go back to this number and click on the marquee tool to create a selection like that. You might not see that because it's blending and hiding against the background. Let's select a nice little dark tone here, and I'll go to the fill tool and click here. So once I've clicked this area to create a mask, all I need to do is go over here and hit Control, and I've created a mask. I can now hit escape. So what have we done here? Now we have a pixel there. If we click on this, we can see the color wheel. It means we can apply color to this object. If I click on the brush tool and just try drawing anything in there, you can see what's happening right now. Because we have masked this shape, and we can actually see a white square around here, anything I do outside is not going to be affected. But if I draw anything inside, we can actually see it's limited within this boundary. And you can use this to pretty much, create some nice little texture, create a nice colorful shape around your design. And you can see how this is actually going, right? So we can just create a nice little confined space. You can have a lot of other things here, but you use this to isolate your design. Now this might not be the and the cool thing about masking is this. Now that we have this thing here, let's say we have this layer and we've painted this. If we wanted to erase this, right, all we need to do is to go to the mask. Now if I click on the mask, you can see we have a grayscale value. I'll hit the letter D on the keyboard to go to black or white. Now, let's see what happens when we paint within this mask. So now, what's happening is we're actually hiding our pixels. We're hiding our pixels. We're not erasing, we're hiding our pixels. So black is going to hide and white is going to reveal. I'll hit X to switch to white, and we can actually see it being switched over here. So the shortcut is just X. So if I switch to white, I can reveal this section. So now I'm painting with the brush, and you can see I'm revealing this section here. And because I was in the mask and painted with black, we can actually see it spilling out of here. So I'll just go ahead and I'll do that. And we can see our base section here. But this is super nice. How do we layer masks? Basically, instead of painting on this, I would like to create a layer system to layer this, basically like clipping masks from other programs. So let's see how we can work with the clipping mask. So first thing I want to do is to create a new pixel layer. So just like that, I have a new pixel layer. Very simple, very straightforward. Now I'll drag this and put it underneath. So we have our, oops, let's just open that so it's under. I'll just drag it and put it under here. Now if we close this first group, remember this is our shape we created. It has a mask. So basically it's in a group. This is our pixel and this is the mask in the group. To take advantage of this already existing mask, all I need to do is to drag this and place it in this group like that. What you'll notice is they're aligned together. I'll just do that again. I'll go out, drag this and go out till I see that blue line. Now all I need to do is to drag this like that till I see a nice little horizontal blue line and release, and you can actually see this is arranged together. So what does this mean? If I put this on top, we can see it's actually, copying that mask and masking this. I don't want that. Let's see what that means. Let's select a color. Let's select this green and let's try painting with this green. Now you can see we're confined to this. It's not going out. We can create a new layer again. So our green is going to be at the bottom. I'll call this 0. I always start with 0 just to tell me which one is of higher preference. Now I have this one. I'll call this one 1. So 1 is higher means 1 is on top. And I want to go for a darker green. So I'll go to this, shift this up a bit and switch my hue like that. And I can start layering this. I might even want to go here like that and start layering this like that. And we can actually see what is going on here. Like that. And say I want to add a little highlight here of a different color. I'll click on this pixel and I'll call that 2, which means it's the highest one. And I'll make this a bit bright like that. Any color. I'm not trying to aim for perfection here, and you can see we actually have this happening right now like that. So we can always go back here, sample this color, switch to our brush and keep, painting and editing stuff. And this is underneath. So what we're doing now is we've created a system where we can paint with masks. Now say for instance we wanted to get rid of some of this white because it's too bright. We don't really want it. We want to just fade it out a little bit. What we can do is to create a mask with the layer selected. So I'll go back to 0, create a mask, go back to 1, create a mask, go back to 2, create a mask. Now what we actually have is we have our base shape. Excuse me. I'll just call that our shape. This is our base shape. And I'll just tear out this layer and just drag it like that. And click this to open this. So we have our base shape with a mask, a rectangular mask that's restricting our design to this shape. And now we have our first layer. We can turn it off. Second layer, and then we have this layer. We can see our default shape here. So for instance, if I wanted to get rid of some of this section right here, I'll jump in the mask. And once you click on the mask, you'll see this grayscale appear on the color swatch. Let's just drag the color swatch and place it around here. So we can see that. And when that happens, you can press D to use, you can press D to use the grayscale brushes. So again, if we are on white, we're revealing. So if we use this brush, we've already have everything revealed. If we press X to switch it, we can just start painting like that, and you can see we're reducing that effect of that initial shape right there. So we're actually hiding what we have already. All right. So, and you can actually see within the mask, this is what we actually have right here. So like I said, a mask is just a selection. So I'm holding Control and selecting that, and we can see we're actually masking this area, and this is the shape we're actually seeing right here. I'll just use escape to deselect that. Let's go to the second one, which is this here, and we wanted to see more of what's in the bottom. What we can use now is to use black, and then I can even create some of these patches like that. And you can see we're seeing some of this white that's at the bottom because we're hiding sections of this initial design. We're hiding it, right? We're hiding it like that. And if we wanted to create a little bit of red to see through, all we need to do is to go over here. And now what I'll do is to just use my paintbrush and just paint over this like that. And we can create our mask like this. Alright, so I hope that's giving you a little idea on how you can use masks to create very interesting textures, and you can mix. There are lots of these brushes. I'm using the gouaches, but the really important ones are underneath under textures. You can use textures to create a lot of interesting designs to your shape. Let's say, for instance, we wanted this like that. Maybe I'll make this slightly dirty, so you can actually see we are just applying that texture to this object. And if we wanted to get rid of that intensity, we'll switch over and hit default. Now, it's not necessarily, we don't have to use 100% black, right? We don't have to use that to, create this. We can use white as well to create that, and we'll actually see the same effect on that design. So while I was creating the mask, remember what we did was I'll hit escape to deselect everything. We just created a shape. So let's say I just clicked on this marquee tool and use the circular marquee. Let's say we want this shape. We fill the shape with a color. I'll just use anything we have right here, and say we have this very strange looking green, and what we did was to create the mask like that. Right, so that's what we did. There are also other ways we can create the mask. It doesn't necessarily have to be just this way. We can start with let's say I have a pixel already. So I'll pick the brush and I'll paint something here. And this is a texture brush. I might not really want that one. Let's use a basic brush and I'll make it very large. Yeah, let's say we want this shape here. So we can still do that and create a mask from that shape. So white means show all, right? So it's on show all. If I hit default, it's on show all, and I can hide everything using black. So black is going to hide, and we can see that line we created in the mask, and it's actually hiding this shape right now. So we have this weird looking cross shape. So once we have that, we can use the same technique we have, and what that's going to do is to only create shapes within this dark section. So I'll create a new pixel layer, open up this group just like we did here, and we can drag this like that. So now we can see it's in the group, but it's underneath the mask. So I'll just put this under like that. So yeah, so now we have, if we hide everything we have here, you can see we have our pixel layer, and then we have our mask, and then in the pixel layer we can just do what we want. So now you can see we are only creating this weird red lines only where we have this mask. And we can do things like layer them. Let's create another one on top. So I'm creating a pixel layer on top, and then I'm using white to just, well, let's not use white. Let's use yellow. And we have yellow over here. And if that yellow is too much, we can just create a mask here and another mask on this one. So we'll go back to that yellow, and if we wanted to use 50% of the opacity of the yellow, what we can do is to just push this midway, and we have a grayscale value, and then we can just go in here and we're just taking out half of it, just half of that object's color. Because if we used 100% black, what that's going to do is to hide everything fully. For example, if I go on this one and I set it to 100% reveal, that's it. So if I set it to 0, it's going to fully cut out. So it's like basically using an eraser. So if I set it to about 50% and start painting, you can see I'm just bringing this back. So you can see how I'm using this as a blending tool. So that's how you can create the mask using an already existing shape. Let's say it's a brush stroke or any rough shape. You can use that to start creating your mask, and hopefully this helps. Peace.